Sekejap. Okay. Where is the info for your presentation? I'll get it later, okay, and I'll show it to you. Okay, all right, let's go on to topic 3 first, and then I will get the info for you about when is your dates of presenting. All right, can you see the slides? I hope you can see the slides. Natasha, nampak?
Nampak, Doktor.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum again. All right, so today we will continue with topic 3. Topic 3 discusses about chapter 4. Okay, so what are we going to do in chapter 4? In general, we are going to understand, okay, we are going to understand what should be included. Okay, in topic 3 ni, we are going to study about, this is topic 3, but we are going to learn about chapter 4. Okay, so chapter 4 is basically your project design and implementation. All right, so what is your project design? How did you design it, and how do you implement it? Okay, how do you design it and how do you implement it? Okay, so meaning design is how do you actually structure, how do you actually code your program, ataupun what softwares did you use, what hardwares did you use if you are using some specific hardware. So you are going to design it, and how did you implement it? You could have implemented it using particular software. You could have doing kalau you buat mobile application, ada yang pakai Android Studio, ada yang pakai software lain. Alright, so these are the things that you have to write in your chapter 4. Okay, so if this contents of chapter 4 is also talking about your software and hardware requirement, and if this chapter 4 software and hardware requirement berbeza or is different from what you have mentioned in the previous semester in chapter 3, then you have to change it accordingly. Okay, kalau you masih ingat in the previous semester, dalam chapter 3 methodology, you have specified the type of software and hardware that you are going to use, but you have changed it in chapter 4 ini. So you have to redo chapter 4, bahagian yang software and hardware requirement, make sure it's the same as what you are using this semester. Okay, right. So overall, what are we going to do is what we need to include in chapter 4. Steps that should be taken during project design and implementation. Okay, ini past tense, steps should be taken. So when you write chapter 4, bila awak tulis chapter 4, you have to describe balik what were the steps you take in order for you to design and implement this project. Okay, how do you design it? Mula-mula in a basic form, you can say that first I did, let's say you are doing a mobile app or for education ke apa namanya, for any gaming process, you designed the screenshots or you designed the apa tu orang kata the slides. Okay, the slides, or you design the characters. Okay, so these are things you've done. And how do you implement it? Okay, I used Android Studio, I used Unity, I used MATLAB or anything else. Okay, so you need to also describe how you implement your approach and your project. What is the approach? What is project? Project is your final FYP lah. Approach itu apa? Approach itu, let's say you are doing your recommendation system. So what approach did you use? Okay, so kalau you masih ingat in recommendation system, there are a few types of codes that you can use. So which one did you use? Oh, saya guna this kind of codes. So these are the codes that you use. These were the approach that you use in order for you to complete your project. Okay, so in general, this would be the contents of your chapter 4. Okay, in general, this will be your contents of chapter 4. Should all of you have the same contents? No, but this is the standard contents that all of you might have. Okay, might have. Tak semestinya should have. Okay, All right. Some of you might have all of this. Some of you might not have all of this. Okay. Depending on the type of project. Okay. So 4.1 is the analysis of requirements. Okay. What were the requirements for you to do this project? And chapter 4.2, you're talking about the design. Okay. Kalau you're using some database, so what is the what is the overall process? The overall process means from the time the user inputs the username and password until the end. Let's say you have 3 modules. Module number 1 is learning. Module number 2 is gaming. Module number 3 is maybe the tests. So these are the 3 types of modules that you have, the overall module. So what are the steps for each module? Okay, let's say kita ambil yang bahagian test tu. Okay, mula-mula the student will input this, and then the student has to choose 3 types of test. Beginner ke, intermediate ke, and then you will say, okay, then the students will answer the questions, and then the result will come out, and so on and so forth. Okay. Next, you can also talk about in 4.3, what was the project development? What is the flow chart from the start until the end? And 4.4, list of features. What are the features? And snapshot from the application, from the project or software. Okay, from the app or the software. That means you take snapshots, not all lah. Tapi kalau let's say you have 4 module, game, test dengan questions. So these are the 3 modules. So you can, these are the modules, so you letaklah gambar-gambar tu snapshot. Oh, macam ni lah rupa dia. Or this is how my input screen is. This is how my module dashboard screen is. Okay, so you have to show this. And last but not least, in chapter 4, section 4.5, very important, you need to do testing. Testing here, I will not explain here because you are going to use the testing method you learn in your software engineering subject kot, saya rasa. Okay, types of testing, ada user testing lah, software testing lah, okay, all those things. Or maybe you say you do pilot testing ke, you pergi bawa your you bring your apps to a particular type of student, you suruh do on test, so you need to list down what was the steps you took in order for them to do the testing. Okay, so this contents of chapter 4 of subchapter 4.5, you can get it inside you should be learning it inside your software engineering subject under the topic of testing. Okay, so there are a few types of testing. Your testing might not be the same as your friend's testing. Okay, but each and every project needs to go through a testing period. Let's say you are doing a module for mobile apps or application for school kids. Okay, school kids. All right, budak-budak tadika, for example, you are teaching them how to learn numbers. Okay, numbers. All right, so you can do a test on them. Okay, bawa ni, ask them to test before and after. Okay, boleh test, and then you record, and then you get all the feedback. You can do that. But remember, because last semester kita ada ethics committee, so you kena ikutlah apa yang telah dibuat. Bila you macam jumpa orang-orang yang macam di luar your ITM, then you need to be very specific. Terutamanya, let's say you're doing a mobile app untuk budak-budak dyslexia, budak-budak autism. So these are special kids. So you need to have special requests. So you can discuss with your supervisor, how are you going to go about this matter. Or maybe sometimes some students, they just want to make sure that their apps is working accordingly. So they do test cases and then they ask their friends to test it. That means contohnya senang je. Kalau klik sini, something should appear. Let's say you click on the user module. Okay, then a module should appear. So you ask your friend, okay, tolong klik kat sini, klik kat sini, kat sini. Kalau you klik sini, something should appear. Betul tak appear? Yes, okay. Betul lah tu. Alright. And let's say you are supposed to calculate your software, your apps or your system can calculate BMI contohnya. So you ask the user to masukkan 2 input and click, keluar tak BMI. Okay, you ask your friend to test. Sebab if you test it yourself, you are sure to get the answer. But you need to ask another person to test it as well. Okay, and then you can ask questions like, is the screens, is the design feasible? Senang tak nak faham? Does the user know where to click? Yes, you would know where to click. But saya sebagai user, first time I'm seeing your system, I would not know where to do anything. Okay, so that is the overall picture. All right, so 4.0, what is the introduction? The specification document explains what requirements are, but more precisely than the requirement document itself. So in chapter 4, you are going to be very precise on what you have done, what you have used, what software, what hardware have you used. Okay. It restates the requirement from the point of the developer. The specifications are explicitly and precisely stated. The requirement is done as if, remember, you are the developer, so you have to write as if you are the developer. Okay, so you're going to be very specific. In chapter 3, research method, you explain, yes, you say the software used will be this. Okay, whatever software that you use, you propose. Tapi in chapter 4, you have to write specifically what you have done. Okay, specifically what types of software have you used, specifically, as if you are the developer, not you are the person you are writing a proposal, bukan? Now you have done it, ini dah buat. Itu maksudnya ayat-ayat dalam chapter 4 ini berbentuk past tense. Okay, berbentuk past tense. That means this was the software that I used. I use this. Okay, I use so many things. Even let's say you buat satu image. Okay, buat satu image. You use Microsoft. You Photoshop. So you have to even write that what you use it for. Okay, there are statements that you can design and test for. Okay, so these statements will be tested nanti. Let's say you kata you buat module ini, and this module, let's say you're doing a module, and this module was done by using software Unity. Okay, so this module is to calculate the total BMI for each participant, for each person. Okay, so module ini ialah untuk kira BMI. So dalam section section 4.5, you have to test this. Sebab you kata your system can do BMI. Okay, so you have to test this, but you cannot test it yourself. Sebab when you test it yourself, I'm sure you are going to get the right answer. So you have to give this mobile app to another person, to a fresh new person, to actually test it. You will test it. Oh, okay, it works fine. Yes, you get the right BMI. Okay, or when you click sini, you get the right thing. Okay, so you have to design your test cases. Ini perkataan baru, test cases dalam subsection 4.5. So what are those test cases? Dalam software engineering subject akan ada benda ni, you can learn it from there. Okay, point number 4, essentially the specification define function from the set of all possible data inputs to the data output by your program. So you explain one by one, what inputs were there in your chapter 4, in your project. Dia macam ni lah. Chapter 4 ni is basically trying to tell the user, the reader, now, I have done this project and I've used this software and this much of modules are available and this is how I did this project. Okay, and this is the flow, this is a screenshot, and this is my testing. That is what chapter 4 is all about. So, in future, if a person will get your chapter 4, he or she can just replicate whatever you have done into a new project. Okay, replicate whatever you have done. That means he knows, oh, you buat macam ni. Okay, he just replicates that as well. All right, he can replicate it. All right, preliminary design report. Okay, how is the design report? Explains how you are going to fulfill the specification. So ini sebelum, sekarang ni you dah buat. So explains how you have done, what are the steps you have done to fulfill the specification. Sebab in chapter 3, you dah kata, the specification of my project ni macam mana. This project is going to do this. Or in chapter 1, you have cakap, this is my objective. So in chapter 4 ni, you can explain now, how did you actually do this? how did you come out with a method or a diagram or how did your system fulfill the objectives in chapter 1? Okay, so you have to also write this down. It is written before you write the program. Okay, so you have to do the designs. What is the ERD diagram? Let's say you are connecting, you are talking about database. So what is the database you are connecting about? Okay, how many data tables are there? Are these tables connected to each other? What is the primary key? What is the foreign key? Okay, so you have to show your designs as well. Okay, stepwise refinement and information hiding concept should be used in developing the program, producing a detailed design document. So like what I said, this chapter 4 is a very detailed document about the design. Okay, and it's written based on the developer's idea. Okay, so orang yang akan baca chapter 4 ni is someone who has knowledge on design or has knowledge on programming, has knowledge on mobile application development. Okay, because they will understand what you have done. Chapter 1 to chapter 3 ni, you can give it to anyone. You boleh bagi kat siapa-siapa lecturer pun boleh yang di luar bidang computer science IT. Because you want to tell them that this is the project yang saya nak buat, this is the period, kenapa you nak buat project ni, sebab this is the requirement, this is the problem, so they will understand chapter 1 to chapter 3. In chapter 4 ni, you are writing the report as if you are giving a detailed design report to those who understand about computer science and IT. It's more it's more detailed already. Kalau you bagi contohnya chapter 1 to chapter 3, you give it to orang-orang business, mereka faham because they will understand, oh, this is the project, this is what you want to do, and this is how you're going to do. Habis. But in chapter 4 ni, if you give them the same report, they won't understand what is this ERD diagram, what is all this, what is the function, flow chart is apa. So you have to design your chapter 4 as if you are designing it or writing it to a developer, to someone who understands codes, understands flow charts, understands IT, understands computer science, understands IoT, understands programming, understands Unity, understands ERD diagram. So this is what chapter 4 is all about. All right. Then you also show in chapter 4.2 what is the prototype, how does it look like? Okay, what are the problems if there was a problem? Okay, so this is in chapter 4.2. In 4.3, okay, so you also show the prototype, or you show the actual design of the system. Okay, show the features, show the whole system, and how do you actually build it, the codes if required. Okay, so these are all in chapter 4.3. So 4.1, you start with the design, overall design, the flow chart. And then 4.2, you tell them about your ERD diagram, if there is any ERD diagram. Okay, what is the implementation, what programming codes you use. Kalau ada specific programming code yang you nak highlight, boleh. Contohnya, you're doing recommendation system. Untuk buat recommendation system or untuk buat semantic, let's say your project is about semantic analysis. What is the code that you use? Where was it? Okay, macam mana you buat semantic analysis? Apakah code tu? What is the specific? How do you do the if statement tu? How do you do the codes? Macam mana you buat semantic analysis ni? What do you actually do? Okay, so these are chapter 4. In chapter 4. That's 4.2. 4.3, you show them, ini dah dia project saya. This is the screen, this is how I do it. So in this screen, saya nak buat semantic analysis. Okay, I click here, this is the output. Okay, so this is chapter 4.3. In 4.4, you are looking at the technical discussion, additional information. Okay, additional information. Maybe there are some additional requirements or additional codes that you use, additional design. Okay, so you can input this in chapter 4.4. So basically, this is about chapter 4. You start with your data requirements, you go into your design, development, implementation, and your testing. Okay, so most of you this is the overall version lah. Okay, tapi everyone needs to have 4.5. Semua orang kena ada 4.5. or semua orang akan ada testing stage. Everyone will have it. 4.1, everyone also have it. 4.2, 3 and 4 berbeza. Mungkin ada yang campur-campur. Maybe you will just have 4.1, 4.2, 4.4 and 4.5. Okay. You can have your data requirement, your design, your flowchart semua. Okay, your design, your flowchart 4.2 and the 4.3 and 4.4 you can letak lah your codes ke, snapshots of your program ke, your mobile apps ke apa namanya, whatever. And then 4.5 you can do a list of testing that you did. Okay, types of testing you learn from your software engineering subject. There are so many types of testing. You choose the right testing or which fits your type of project. Okay, if project you pasal mobile apps, what is the right type of testing that you need to use? If your project is about macam tadi saya kata untuk budak-budak disleksia belajar, kalau you jumpa budak-budak macam tu, you can test it. If you do not find those kids or you have no time to go, then you change it to a different type of testing. But secara keseluruhan, you must have the testing stage. Very important. Okay. So based on this, you are going to move your chapter 5 nanti, because you are in chapter 5, you are going to conclude by saying that yes, dalam project ini we had 3 objectives based on chapter 1. Inilah objektif dia. And chapter 5 nanti you can explain, yes, I've completed objective 1. How do you do it? This is the proof, saya dah buat kat sini. Let's say your objective tu tak tercapai. Or now, dalam masa sekarang ni, you find out that, oh, I cannot do objective number 3. I cannot do objective number 4. Okay? I need to change it. Boleh, tak ada masalah. You can change your objective. It is not haram to change your objective. Go ahead and change your objective as per what you can do. Discuss with your supervisor. Tell them, sir, ma'am, I'm not able to do objective number 4 because I just don't know how. I have no time, or maybe I am doing it, but I cannot seem to get the right answer. Can I change this objective into a different objective where I am confident of completing it? Go ahead. I'm sure your supervisors will agree. Do that and then present it and then test it in chapter 4. Write the data requirements and conclude it in chapter 5. Nanti kita akan belajar chapter 5 lah. Okay, how to conclude whatever you've done. Okay, so I hope you can get the contents of chapter 4. So basically, in everyone's of chapter 4, you will have 4.1 ini wajib, 4.5 ini wajib, and 4.1 and 4.2 ini wajib, 4.3 and 4.4 will be together lah. Some of you will have it together saja. Okay, not an issue kat situ. Okay, I hope all of you have understand. Do you have any questions to ask me? Ada soalan tak nak tanya saya? Kalau ada, boleh angkat tangan. Yes, apa?
Doktor, kalau kita guna different type of macam contoh database type, should we change it on chapter 3?
Yes. Database type tu you dah mention belum dalam chapter 3 tu?
Oh tak, saya tukar.
Then change it lah, tukar lah.
Okay.
But you don't have to explain lah, tak payah lah explain kenapa you berubah. You dah tukar je lah. Just make sure it's the same. So bila hantar final report tu, bila examiner baca chapter 3, oh database ni, nampak chapter 4, oh okay, sama lah, fine. You don't have to explain why you have changed. Ini bukannya orang kata master's level ke PhD level. It's just an FYP project. So if you change, I'm sure you know why you change. I'm sure your supervisor knows why you change. Tukar je, tak ada masalah. But if you're if you're changing your objective or research question, okay, or you drop some research question or objective, then you need to talk to your supervisor. Tell them, sir, ma'am, I've dropped objective 3 sebab masalah ni, and boleh tak saya ganti dengan ni sebab ini lagi saya confident nak buat. Go ahead, tak ada masalah. But whatever you change, you kena tukar balik lah. Okay, or let's say you mula-mula hari tu you in semester lepas you nak buat mobile app. Semester ni app tu mobile tu tak jalan, app tu tak jalan. You nak buat benda yang sama on a website, on a web-based platform. Boleh, tak ada masalah. Just change the whole thing lah. Maksud dia di mana-mana bahagian chapter 1, 2, 3 yang explain pasal mobile app, you have to change it accordingly to web pula. Okay, you have to change it according to web. Especially in chapter 3 lah. Akan ada perkataan-perkataan mobile app apa you nak pakai, to change it. In chapter 1 pun, if there is any mobile issues, you have to change it accordingly and letaklah cerita pasal web pula.
Okay, thank you, Doktor.
You're welcome. Putri Nazif. Any question?
Yes, so far I have no question.
Shakira, Siti Zulaika, Rashida. Yes, Natasha.
Untuk nak buat testing tu kan ada REC form tu kan. Kan macam sekarang ni tak jumpa, kalau macam orang tu dekat tempat lain. So kalau online macam mana nak suruh dia like jawab, nak isi REC form tu, like you have to like bagi borang tu online ke macam mana?
Can you give me a scenario tak?
Contoh to give it to my family yang dekat Kedah.
Oh, okay. What do you want to give them?
Nak suruh diorang try my application.
Oh, okay. Kalau setakat family tak ada masalah lah. No need to give them the REC form lah. I thought, but if you're giving your project to budak-budak sekolah, then that's going to be a bit tricky lah. Kalau you setakat bagi kat family, kat kawan-kawan, then kita boleh tutup satu mata lah. It's not a big deal lah. It's not a big deal. But if you are giving to, let's say your project is about dyslexia kids, is about autism kids, then you nak bagi kat tadika tersebut, or you nak bagi kepada specific person, then kita perlukan REC lah. Tapi kalau setakat you bagi kat tok nenek awak ataupun sepupu awak, tak payahlah. You belanja dia orang makan cukup lah.
Okay. So kalau contoh I nak pergi dekat tadika, and then kalau macam tu kena like print borang REC.
Yes, tadika tu yes is a bit tricky. Tadika tu you kena lah, because satu tu you kena tanya jawab Cik Farid. REC itu penting, and then you kena dapatkan macam persetujuan daripada tadika tersebut. Mereka membenarkan you kena buat permohonan melalui Cik Farid kepada tadika tersebut, which allows you to come, or which allows you to use their students for testing purpose. And then you kena explain lah to tadika tersebut yang projek ni ialah projek FYP, and data yang kita perolehi daripada projek ni tidak akan di-sharekan kepada mana-mana pihak yang terlibat. And then when you report this testing dalam your chapter 4, nama tadika tersebut tidak akan appear. Contohnya macam you kata this testing was done in tadika XYZ. You cannot say nama tadika tersebut. Nama budak-budak tersebut tak boleh. And then semasa you buat testing tersebut, you have to make sure tiada paksaan daripada diri you sendiri. It should be dengan rela hati, or it should be with personnel orang sebelah tepi ke. Because we want to make sure yang we have, because ini budak-budak special lah, or tadika biasa pun, we want to make sure the confidential, person PNC lah, it should be very PNC. Takut nanti ada, so you pakai anak orang kan, you use anak orang, takut nanti parents orang kata macam, oh ni tak boleh, kenapa pakai anak saya. So these are some issues lah. Selama ni tak pernah ada, tapi kita hanya jagalah, we need to take care lah. We need to take care sahaja.
I see. Okay. The minimum like tester.
Minimum tester, you tanya Cik Farid berapa minimum tester. Tapi for FYP, it's okay if you have even, saya terima saja kalau you ada 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pun saya terima saja. There is no a good number lah, okay. Setakat untuk FYP, setakat seorang dua orang, it's fine, no problem. Saya terima saja, boleh.
Okay. Oh, okay, thank you, Doktor.
Okay, Dania, Izzah, Aimi. Siapa yang tanya soalan ni? Siapa?
Saya.
Iskandar, yes.
What's the deadline for chapter 4?
What's the deadline for chapter 4? Dulu saya ada bagi gambar tak dalam, did I give you a picture inside snapshot? Apa? Ada tak saya bagi? Did I give you any okay, can I get back to you on that, Iskandar? Nanti saya message dalam group, saya cari info tu. I've done it, saya pun tak ingat kat mana saya buat benda-benda ni. Okay, can I get back to you on that, Iskandar? Boleh tak?
Fine, Doktor. Thank you.
Ada tak siapa-siapa simpan dia punya, kita punya apa tu, timeline untuk subjek ni? Saya dah bagi dulu, saya tak ingat. Ada tak siapa-siapa simpan? Okay, nanti saya bagi balik, saya cari, and then I will forward balik dalam group. Any other question? Siapa ni? Idayu, okay. Idayu Nazri berkata, Sir, kira chapter 4 ini kita buat once the app is fully developed ke? Yes, it's best to do it once it has fully developed. Yes. But bahagian 4.1, 4.2 dah boleh tulis lah sebab ianya it's just the design and the flowchart. Okay. Yang 4.4 tu, the screenshot tu, once you dah buat tu, you dah boleh masukkan lah. Okay. So now you can dah boleh start on your 4.1, 4.2 lah sebab ianya hanya your flowchart and system, apa namanya, system design. Okay. Okay, dah boleh dah tu. Your 4.3 and 4.4 tu, because kita nak your screenshot and your testing, and then you can do it later lah. Okay, tadi Iskandar, you tanya kan? Okay.
Yes, Doktor.
Okay, sekejap. I will put in, there is no specific date I am giving for chapter 4. Cuma, this is the dates. Oh, I can show you. I can. All right, can you see this? Okay, so this is the timeline untuk semester ini. So hari ini kita berada di sini. Okay, we are here. All right, we are here. As you can see, mula-mula kita fokus ini dulu. 10% for your written report, only on chapter 4. Final is 45%. So dua-dua ni dah 55%. Ya ke? 55, betul. 55. And then your presentation 40%, and ini satu assignment yang later saya akan bagi another 5%. So cara pembahagiannya hari ini is your progress presentation. So I will give you 10%. Okay, I will give you 10%. Yang ini ialah bahagian final presentation. Okay, so tarikh-tarikh final presentation ialah on the 28 January onwards lah. 28 January onwards. Okay. This means, ini maksud dia, pada 28 hari bulan onwards, your supervisor and examiner akan mula check your presentation on the 28th of January onwards lah. Okay. And you have to submit to them on the 21st of January. So pada 21st January, you akan submit the full completed report, chapter 1 to chapter 5, including your video. your video tu, your another YouTube link lah. Okay, your presentation, your final presentation. Macam hari ni juga you buat your you buat your progress. Sama juga on the 21st of January, you are going to do a final presentation on your report, on your project. Okay, so you are going to upload it, and then kalau ada apa-apa lah, and then on the 28th of January onwards, pensyarah-pensyarah akan mula evaluate your report lah. Okay, ataupun sebelum pun lah. Okay, so this is hari ni lah. Okay, so hari ni tugas saya ialah 10%. Saya saja. Okay, yang ini assignment yang saya akan bagilah. Okay, ini assignment yang akan bagi. So masa final nanti, your supervisor and your examiner will give you 30% kat sini, termasuk dengan saya punya 10%. So this is 40% done. And then untuk chapter 4 yang you dah hantar on the 21st of January, bahagian chapter 4 is 10%. Bahagian chapter 4 je 10%. Okay, yang lain-lain 1, 2, 3 and 5 is 45%. Okay, so that equals to 100%. Okay.
Okay.
So
semua 21 hari bulan lah.
Yes, 21 hari bulan Januari.
Alright. Thank you, Doctor.
No problem. So hantar gambar tu dalam chat, dalam WhatsApp. Okay, any other questions kawan-kawan? Oh, ni dia. Syamimi, sir nak tanya. Ya, boleh tanya. Untuk sistem design tu kena sama dengan sistem architecture ke different? Yes, dia kena berlainan sedikit daripada sistem architecture itu. Oh, sorry. I repeat my answer. Okay. Yes, it should be the same as your system architecture. System architecture itu is something very general, but your system design itu is more specific. Okay, more specific. That means you kata in your system architecture, I think semester lepas in chapter 3 or 2 if I'm not mistaken, you kata you nak pakai IoT, you nak pakai mobile and you nak pakai this. But in your design, you explain what are those things. What was the software that you use? What is the hardware that you use? So that these are the things that you need to understand. Sekejap, I need to answer this one call. Sekejap ya. So jawapan untuk Syamimi, yes, it's different. Architecture is general, system design is more specific. Okay, should it be the same? Yes, it should be the same, but design is much more specific detail. Itu jawapan saya. Dia it's different, memang dia punya gambar tu berbeza, tapi dia punya content tu sama lah. Okay. Kawan-kawan yang lain, Humairah. Okay. Yang mereka-mereka yang tak hantar lagi ni, are you in the midst of doing your YouTube? Tengah buat ke? Tengah start ke? Yes sir. Humairah kata yes sir. Okay, tengah buat. Okay, bagus. Suhaili, mana Suhaili? Suhaili, how are you today? Suhaili has left. Lawak ni. Tengah buat. Okay. Alright, tengah buat. Okay. I will leave you for now so that you can continue your progress and get the video done and immediately upload dalam Facebook. Dalam Facebook pula. Dalam YouTube. Okay. If any one of you has a problem, a major problem, PM tepi saya. Okay, we need to sort. We will sort out immediately juga. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for attending my class today, and inshallah I will see you in the next class. If you have any problem, besar ke kecil ke, let me know. We'll try to sort it out as soon as possible. If you have any problem with your supervisor, supervisor tak nak jumpa awak, awak tak nak jumpa supervisor, let me know juga, so we can sort out as soon as problem. Jangan tunggu sampai minit-minit terakhir. Okay? Yes, Iskandar.
Sir, saya upload tak video ni? Saya upload video ni kat mana? Ada meeting, ada.
Oh, hari ni punya? Okay, yang semua-semua punya?
Semua.
Okay, I will upload dalam Google Classroom. Saya akan buka satu Google Classroom and then you all can access from there, okay? Sebab when I upload dalam YouFuture, dia macam susah sikit lah. I'll upload all the videos and then I will pass it on to the group, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, semua orang senyap, saya pun senyap. Okay, thank you so much. I will see you in the next class, insyaAllah. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, Doktor. Thank you, Doktor.
Thank you, Doktor.
Okay, selamat buat.
Thank you, Doktor.
YouTube.
Thank you, Doktor.
Okay.